And now it's time for our next presentation on today's EcoCast. I'm excited to introduce Mr. John Gray, Chief Technology Officer at InterVision. John, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah. Thanks for being on. Take it away.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. So, what I'm talking about today is modernizing SLED with the power of the cloud. So, I'm the CTO of InterVision. InterVision is a strategic services partner, and what does that really mean? What it means is, we do a number of things. We sell products. We provide professional services, consulting services, but most importantly, we provide solutions to our clients, and cloud-based solutions is our focus. So, I've been in this industry for a long time. I was early involved in the cloud a decade or so ago and have grown our whole division around that. As a company, we've got locations across the country. We've got 3 NOCs and SOC. We've got a tremendous amount of engineers, high number of cloud certifications across them, and we support a lot of technologies. So, we really sort of cover a gamut of technical products and solutions for our clients. So, but focusing on the cloud, which is, we're very much cloud first. What are the benefits of the cloud? And people are hammering this home all the time, but it's a good place for us to start. So agility and scale, to innovate, to move as your business moves. And obviously we've seen a lot of that recently with the COVID, hitting, industry, and how a lot of the response has been technology and cloud-based technology particularly. What does it bring you? Well, it brings you savings on capital expenses, which, again, has been key recently. People have been able to deploy new solutions very rapidly without having to buy actual infrastructure. So savings of time and money, and reducing of risks and downtime. So if done right, the cloud solutions are, more secure, more resilient, high availability, fault tolerant, etc. So then, why isn't everybody completely in the cloud at this point? Well, it's for a number of reasons. It's challenges, right? Cloud talent is expensive and it's hard to come by. And if you train people up, quite often they will go jump and get another job. So at our company, we are constantly recruiting and doing a lot of things to keep our highly talented people happy and with us. Cloud migrations themselves are not differentiating. What do we mean by that? Well, if you're migrating your apps and your business apps to the cloud, that's new technology, but you're not actually delivering any new functionality for the business. So quite often what happens is people will get pulled off those projects if it's an internal project and put onto something else that's, for the business, and the cloud migration will stall. So security and compliance are very strong in the cloud, but it's a different paradigm, different approach to the data center, and oftentimes it's difficult for the existing teams to kind of understand that. So that's what we're really seeing as major challenges. Gartner sees insufficient cloud skills as a very big obstacle, and that's consistent with InterVision's experience, and particularly in the public sector, which is where we have focused for a long time. The skill shortage is even greater in the public sector. It's even more difficult to hold on to the staff when you get them. So, it's very much a focus for us to provide the type of service and talent to our public sector clients. So where can we help as a strategic service provider? Well, we focus on our clients very heavily and understanding what they need and where they're at in their cloud journey. So we can provide, full cloud deployments, AWS, Azure, Google. We can provide hybrid solutions. We do a lot of work around managed services, so we can provide the right model. We can fully support our clients once they're migrated. We can provide professional services for projects where they need us, or we can set clients up to be completely sort of self-sufficient. So it really depends on your strategic IT vision as to how a partner like us fits in with you. So, as I was saying, we've got very broad and deep cloud experience across architecture is where we always want to start and focus. Migration, DevOps, storage is, oftentimes a typical area to get into the cloud, to move cold storage, archive it to the cloud. DR is some, strong use case in the cloud. Number of different ways of doing that. SysOps, we can support our clients there very strongly. Security, we've got huge depth in security and compliance, both in the cloud and outside of the cloud, so that your entire environment is protected. We also have a full-grown ML AI practice. We've developed large fraud detection models or machine learning models and had a lot of success there. Importantly, we are an AWS premier consulting partner. There's less of 50 of those in the US. We've got a bunch of different competencies which are hard to achieve with AWS around migration, DevOps, storage, education, and government. We are a public sector partner, so we're one of a handful of premier partners who are public sector partners. So that makes us pretty unique. We've done work for a whole bunch of clients across, public sector. So federal and state, we do work. I'm in California. We do work for Department of Healthcare Services, for example, massive deals there. We've done a lot of work for some of the bigger departments like Franchise Tax Board. We do a lot of work in higher ed for California community colleges, for CSU and other colleges across the country. We've just, got a lot of work in healthcare, both public sector and also on the private sector side, so we understand both sides of that. And, we also do a lot of work for big private sector organizations as well. And as a consulting company, what's good about consulting companies or strategic service providers is we can leverage work and lessons learned and pre-built packages from one client to another, which really plays into the modernization case studies I'm about to talk about here. We build out a lot of automation as we go. We've got our own InterVision automation framework where we will bring to a project to not just start from scratch every time. We bring in, reusable designs, reference architectures, and then have automation to go with that. So the first case study I'm looking at here is for Mount San Jacinto College, which is in Southern California. What we did for them recently when COVID hit was within a few days, we came in there and implemented AWS AppStream. They, like many organizations, were completely blindsided by, the virus outbreak and having to work from home. So we deployed AppStream for them, which is an application streaming service in AWS, and which we set up, with their networking and security, and were able to get this running for their, 5 main applications within 2 days. So literally got that 300 employees up and going again in a very short amount of time. And as you can see, there's a quote on here from their Dean of Information Technology, who was super happy. And we're now doing more work with them to do full migration of all their applications from their data center into the cloud. But in the meantime, AppStream is giving them what they need, giving them access to their legacy apps that are running on-prem. And we've actually got a promotion going on with this, which I'll talk about at the end of my presentation. Yeah, so here's a diagram. I don't expect you to be able to see it all, but this is the architecture of the AppStream deployment. It's highly resilient. It's, in multiple AWS availability zones, which means it's supported across multiple Amazon data centers. It's integrated through Amazon's Transit Gateway, which, high-speed networking, very strong security. It's integrated with directory services and all those sort of things. So this is something that, we've got a standard way of rolling out and training people on it, and are doing a lot of these right now. So the next case study I've got here is somewhat different. CalHFA is a government organization that, coming out of the last recession, about 2009, they did a whole bunch of very low-interest loans to get people back on their feet. and I had a whole contact center, a couple of hundred people processing those. And about 3 years ago, when they were starting to sort of close that down, but still have to provide a call center, a contact center, they came to us and wanted to migrate what they had, which was completely on-prem, into the cloud so they can provide long running support for the follow-up on those mortgages and all those kinds of things they need to do. So we migrated both their back end, their server environment into the cloud. We used Amazon's VDI, desktop as a service, workspaces to take the desktop part of those applications into the cloud. So fully migrated their data center and their desktops into the cloud to reduce their operational costs, to give them the sort of agility they needed to continue to refine the approach as the business requirements changed. We provide ongoing disaster recovery for these guys every 3 months, doing DR tests that they have to do because they're in the banking industry. But the cloud has really met their needs as that program has evolved. At InterVision, we have our own migration process, which is, very repeatable, very detailed. It's sort of centered around Amazon's migration approach, but we use it across different clouds. We've got automation around this. We've got repeatable artifacts, questionnaires that we hit our clients with, to get them to give us information very effectively at the beginning of migrations and to really make the whole thing as repeatable as we can. So, that leads us from the discovery and analysis, and we use tooling there like, Cloud Jump or TSO Logic to get automated information around discovery. We then do planning into foundational build and a lot of security and governance built into that through the migration and operations and optimization. So what we're finding, and this Gartner and Forrester back this up, is the move and improve approach to cloud migration is really what is taking hold at this point. Basically, get your workloads into the cloud and then optimize, as opposed to try to do a lot of rework upfront, is the way that most of our clients, not all of them, but that is becoming kind of the mainstream approach. So we have done some pretty complex migrations over the last few years. One of them was for Ventura Community Colleges down in Southern California, migrating an app called Banner 9 into the cloud. Now, Banner is an ERP, or Student Information System, product from a company called Ellucian. A couple of thousand different higher ed organizations use this across the country. A lot of them have highly customized versions of it. What we did with Ventura was we worked with them to completely containerize that application, to migrate the Oracle database server into AWS, the job server, which had some fairly archaic legacy code, even some COBOL code, got that up and running. But then the main components of Banner, we containerized and got them into Docker and created a CI/CD pipeline, did a lot of work to make this, very sort of elegant solution that, is working very well for them now. So another big migration that we've done over the last probably 5 years is for California Community Colleges Technology Center, who are kind of the hub of the 115 community colleges in California, which has about 2 million students. So we've ended up with over 1,000 EC2 instances, so 1,000 virtual servers basically in AWS, and migrated a whole bunch of different applications for them into the cloud. We're doing a lot of leading edge stuff there now around data lake, machine learning, we're doing fraud detection with machine learning. So we've kind of moved with this client as they have gotten more and more sophisticated in their approach to the cloud. We've got a large team of people, probably 12 people there supporting them in a DevOps role day in, day out. So, that's one of our larger customers and, really sort of showcases all the different things we can do. And then sort of a smaller scale, really, storage and disaster recovery is a sort of good entry point into the cloud. We're doing this for several California departments, actually, but tax and fee is one of them, where we're implementing, moving storage into the cloud, getting that DR set up for the cloud, into GovCloud for some of it. And this has been a very successful, scalable solution for them, and I expect they're going to grow out from this to do more than just ER. But it's, I think, for them being a fairly sort of slow-moving organization that's somewhat conservative, this has really proven the value. They had a lot of Splunk logs and things like that that were chewing up a ton of space on-prem. We've managed to get those into the cloud. They now can use that existing servers back on-prem for other things, so it's given them some space there. And then last but not least, I mean, this is something that when we started looking at the cloud many years ago, I saw that migration was going to be obviously a big area of focus for organizations. But then as organizations get fully into the cloud, what were people going to do then? Well, one of the areas that became clear was machine learning and AI becomes much more viable in the cloud because you can stand up basically supercomputer-sized compute, run it for 30 minutes and turn it off. It's way cheaper in the cloud to start with, and then the ability to start and stop and destroy the environments, it makes it much more cost-effective. So we've implemented machine learning models for a number of organizations, public sector and healthcare is where we're implementing some pretty impressive solutions right now. What this has shown is that we can move very quickly. We've got a predefined way of doing these projects. We can produce real value very quickly with machine learning because we've done it so many times. We have an architecture that in this case, where it's a human in the loop kind of model where users are coming in this case it was students, and they were hacked or fraud was being committed to get a student email address. We now can stop over 95% of that. So we suspend the application, somebody looks at them and validates them. So, and then the model keeps relearning because the behavior changes. So a really great example of how to apply machine learning to business, right? And this architecture here is reusable across different industries. So as I was mentioning earlier, we've got a limited time offer going on here with AWS Workspaces, which is desktop as a service, or VDI in the cloud, and AppStream, which is application streaming at no cost to you. So basically, we will do up to 50 hours of work to bring up a Workspaces and/or AppStream solution for you. This actually ends June 30th. So if you're interested, in this, and we've got a lot of interest, we're doing a number of these, get in touch with us. We've seen a lot of success here with these for clients, and something where you can sort of get your team going as far as the cloud if you haven't done anything in the direction before. So just to kind of summarize, comprehensive cloud skills, we're a premier partner. My information is on the slides here if you want to contact me directly. And, we are happy to deal with people who've got big projects, small projects, just need some guidance, or, if they're very advanced in the cloud, they need help taking on certain maintenance and areas like that, we can do that as well. So really, we will fit to our clients. So, okay, with that, I'll hand it back to the moderator and see if you've got any questions.
Absolutely, yeah. Great presentation, John. I really enjoyed that. I want to call everyone's attention out there to the poll that's on the screen. What additional information would you like about the InterVision solution while we do some Q&A? Okay, so sorry, John. First question that came in, they're asking for cloud migrations. I've heard that AWS provides funding to help pay for the work. Is that true? Does that really happen?
Yes, it does. Yeah. I mean, Amazon's very aware that as you get into a migration, there's what they call a migration bubble, in that you've got to continue running your existing systems while working on essentially a project and bringing up new environments in AWS. And so you're going to have two sets of environments and people working, right? And so they have a whole bunch of different ways of funding that, depending on your situation and your size. And so, yeah, I mean, you can get a lot of the migration paid for times depending on what it is. All of it really depends on your situation, and they're constantly changing those funding programs. And we have people who are working day in and day out with them and our clients to find the best combination of funding for a client. But yeah, absolutely, there's funding available.
Excellent. Okay. Let's see. Next question. They said, with COVID-19 hitting, what areas of cloud are you seeing be used the most?
Well, I think across the board we're seeing an uptick. I think I heard early on, a week or so into it, Microsoft Azure had seen a 750% increase. That was by the second week. The areas that we're seeing though hit quickly or a lot right now are the app stream and workspaces, because of the remote workforce. But also, with AppStream, we're seeing that folks who've got VDI solutions and are looking to grow them, that were hardware driven. The cloud VDI or workspaces or AppStream is much more cost effective. So we're seeing kind of a migration from on-prem VDI into AppStream is an area that's very, very sort of active right now.
Okay, and I'm curious, why do you think that is? Why are companies choosing to move to cloud for VDI?
AppStream is managed, so a whole bunch of things that you had to do traditionally, like maintenance of the hardware behind the VDI, imaging, patching, all of those things are taken care of for you. So your ongoing costs, your total cost of ownership is significantly less. It takes care of needing multiple VPNs, so the security and the networking around it is simpler and better. AppStream, certainly for higher ed, what we're seeing is AppStream is very good fit for labs where you had students who you had either desktops, laptops, or VDI solutions. AppStream allows you to run one application like an AutoCAD and completely control that, right? So it's really a good fit in that sort of situation. So that's where we're seeing really sort of explosive growth right now.
Yeah, that's very interesting because, VDI has typically been, sometimes painful to implement on premises and needs a lot of maintenance over time. So,
right. Yeah, and we use infrastructure as code to create pipelines for building images, and so we take the same sort of DevOps techniques there to build out automation, which is very effective.
Okay. So if one of these, for example, a university wants help with VDI and they contact InterVision, can you kind of walk us through just the high-level steps of what you do to help out?
Yeah, it's understanding if it's around the labs, what software they're running, what sort, obviously what the different applications are. Yep. So we can build up the AppStream fleet, and then working with them around if they have any particular security or networking architecture that they need to fit into. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. We've got a lot of it automated at this point. So, obviously we build out the AppStream image and fleet, test it, and then work through a deployment. So it's a pretty straightforward process for us at this point.
Yeah, that's got to be comforting to hear for so many of these SLED organizations out there. That
Absolutely.
This isn't something you've done before. This isn't something that's new to you. You've done this many times before, and it's very templated to some degree.
Yeah, increasingly so. When we first started doing workspaces and AppStream a year or so ago, probably a couple of years ago, it didn't lend itself to full automation because, like a lot of AWS services, when they're first delivered, they're somewhat bare bones. They've come a long way. There's a lot more we can do with automation. There's a lot we do with monitoring now. So, it's pretty sophisticated, and we continue to further automate and further sort of like I said, the lab environment that we're seeing in across the colleges and universities, we've now got automation around that specific use case, really sort of an accelerator for that type of deployment of AppStream.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, John, I'm afraid that's all the time we have in our live Q&A session, but it's been really great having you on the event. Thank you so much.
Thank you.